Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting for Bedford Township for August 17th, 2021. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, if Matt Hafer with Bridgepoint Church could open us up in prayer.
Father, thank you so much for this opportunity for our leaders to get together and discuss matters that matter, that they have in front of them. Lord, right now we pray for our nation and just all the things going on. We pray for those in the Middle East with all of the persecution and just chaos going on there, that you bring comfort and you bring peace, Lord. And we thank you so much for just raising up leaders who love you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Okay, at this time, approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda is submitted.
Support.
Okay, motion in support of Mr. Bruning. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Gore is absent. Ms. Jandisek?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, and the motion passed 6-0. Item 3, the consent agenda. The Agenda Committee recommends to A, approve and place on file the minutes of the August 3rd, 2021 regular meeting of the Bedford Township Board. B, accept and place on file the general, savings, pooled funds, and CD reports from the treasurer. C, approve and place on file the revenue, expense report, and balance sheet for the period ending July 31st, 2021.
Motion to approve the consent agenda is submitted.
Support.
Okay, motion is supported by Ms. Janaszak. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, and the motion passed 6-0. Okay, item 4 is presentations from Michigan Cornerstone Community Events Calendar. Matt Vanasecker with the Monroe County Business Development Corporation. Thanks for being here. Matt?
Oh, well, thanks for having us, Mr. Supervisor and Board of Trustees. We appreciate the opportunity to present tonight on this project we've been working on for, gosh, it feels about 4.5 years now, and longer before me. So before I get started, I wanted to take a moment to introduce the team. We have Susan Vanasecker with Lazy Boy Incorporated. We have Doug Chafin, chairperson of the BDC and also chairperson of the River Raisin National Battlefield Foundation, and myself, Matt Vanasecker, with the Monroe County BDC. The agenda for tonight will include an update on the Monroe County Link Plan, and then also we're going to share with you the culmination of the shared vision of the Tourism Bureau, the Link Plan, and our local community partners. This is our Michigan's Cornerstone community event calendar and brand. We are excited to showcase this event exchange and the opportunities it presents, along with the opportunities that having a county-wide inclusive brand represents as well. So I'll lead off with an update on the plan. Mr. Chafin will introduce you to the brand. I will then demonstrate what a user will see upon entering the brand event site. And then Ms. Vanasecker will discuss how the Link Plan has engaged all community partners from across the county. Collectively, we recognize that none of this progress we have made under the Link Plan would be possible without the broad community support we've received, including from Supervisor Peroni and the Board of Trustees here. We know that your ongoing support of the Link Plan is essential for its continued success. So I just wanted to briefly, as I said, go over what we've been doing over the last year in terms of the Monroe County Link Plan. I believe it's been about a year and a half since we've given an update to the board. Starting with the Prepare for Investment team, we've been working with the GIS mapping system and the new hub system that the county has been implementing to look at sites and figure out where utilities, other infrastructure is lacking on them, so that we can start going after some opportunities for growth. We've been engaging the community in this process as well. coming up on September 30th, and then in the previous spring, we hosted an educational webinar for the planning and zoning, which happens every year. September 30th at the Battlefield will be the next educational webinar where County Administrator and CFO Mike Bosonic is going to be discussing how the county is going about dispersing the ARP funding that they are receiving. So it should be a really interesting topic. We'll probably talk a little bit more about the Prepare for Investment team at that time. Launch 734, which is a new pillar team, formerly the Growth Strategic Pillar Team. Supervisor Peroni actually is kind enough to chair this pillar team for us. The goal of this is to provide entrepreneurial resources for the county and pooling entrepreneurial resources together from different corners of the county. We've developed a gap analysis, and we're going to start rolling out some programming here. There's a website, launch734.com. We're also starting to host some entrepreneur-focused events, including a pitch and pour event that's coming up September 14th at Pavlov's. It's starting to make its way around Facebook a little bit, but gives entrepreneurs the chance to pitch their idea in a laid-back environment and get some constructive feedback on it, which is great. Talent development pillar team. Talent is the #1 issue that employers are facing across the county and across the state. I would argue the country as well. We're relaunching this pillar team. Took a bit of a hiatus during the pandemic, given the challenges with the education system. But now we've got the educators, business partners, and workforce development groups all at the table again, working on Manufacturing Day for this year and a Career Expo in the spring. Those are annual events. We held a virtual Manufacturing Day last year as well, but be on the lookout for more information about the Career Expo in the spring. And then finally, the Michigan Cornerstone pillar team, which was actually a merging of 2 pillar teams, Quality of Life and Tourism, and the Image and Brand pillar team. Realizing that these 2 pillar teams had very similar missions at the end of the day, focusing on tourism as an economic driver for Monroe County, and then also looking at quality of life and amenities that we could add to drive either residential or visitor growth. And then also included in this pillar team is future strategic plan development, particularly around a gap analysis of the tourism industry, as well as gap analysis of the residential industry in the county. At this point, I am going to turn it over to Mr. Chafin to speak to both the event calendar and the brand.
Thank you, Matt. As you know, both Tim Lake and Mike Bosonic were originally planning to present this evening. They were called away, unfortunately, couldn't be here. That does not mean that you're stuck with the B team, however. You know, we've been kind of tag teaming this for the last few weeks and the weeks ongoing, so we're having fun with it. 20 years ago, I first came to Monroe County, and at that time, if you wanted to know as a local citizen what was happening in your community, or if you were planning on visiting Monroe County, there were several resources that you had to research to find out really what was going on. All well-intentioned, but at that time I think it was very difficult due to the lack of technology to have a cohesive, centralized community resource that told both the public locally and others that were visiting what's happening in our community. And you know, fast forward to about 2 years ago, a group of stakeholders were involved in participating with the new Monroe County Tourism Bureau Board on their strategic planning workshop. And what came out of that, and this was really part of the vision with the Monroe County Link Plan, was developing. Is that me? Must be.
Just hit your microphone off for a second on the base right there. Rick, you want to go grab George and let him?
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, is he working on it? Okay. Is your
Okay.
green light on?
Green light is
Okay.
back on.
All right.
Got it.
There we go. We're good.
Okay. What came out of that was really developing a cohesive, collaborative, all-encompassing community event calendar that all of our local communities could participate in, all of the key partnerships could participate in, and it was really part of that vision with the Monroe County Link Plan in furthering tourism as an economic driver. So the purposes of these partnerships through what we now call the My Cornerstone Community Event Calendar drive visitors to Monroe and to inform our own citizens about what we have to offer here in our community. And then through those joint efforts, promote commerce, keep local dollars in the county, and strengthen and improve tourism as an economic driver by putting heads in the beds. Yeah, all right, that's really part of the focus. Also, market our image and brand through a coordinated effort on a common message platform to promote activities, events, hospitality, lodging, and food, and entertainment offerings.
Wait for George, he's messing with it right now. A little bit of technical difficulties.
Got it. It's all right. So the community event calendar demonstrates the county's commitment and Monroe County's commitment to our community. Monroe County government has played a key role in this through their planning and community engagement team developing this tool, which is really part of and rides on the GIS platform, which I know you're already familiar with. It's a very comprehensive system. It would be great if we could give you a live demo of that. It doesn't really lend itself to that in this venue, but I think Matt's going to do a pretty good job even without that. While the county created this event calendar, they also built it as a community resource for our key partners. Again, communities, the Tourism Bureau, hospitality and entertainment partners. And we think it's really the exact tool that these stakeholders and that strategic planning workshop really envisioned going back a couple of years ago and supporting a single platform for demonstrating community events, what's happening throughout Monroe County. So this Cornerstone event calendar will manage events in a single repository, showcase member hospitality locations, actually allow someone to link onto a location and make a reservation if they wish to do that. Very dynamic. Showcase local attractions, things to do, things that are happening around those local attractions, and through various amenities, parks, and whatnot. And then help find eateries, bistros, and cafes. You know, what are you going to do? Where are you going to eat while you're attending an event? Or what additional events do you want to attend while you're in a community? Hopefully getting you to stay over more than just one night or two. Now the events calendar also links up with the Monroe County community brand. And there was a work that a brand pillar team, the Michigan image and branding team, did going back about a year ago, spent an entire year talking about how should we brand our local community. As we started talking about the Monroe County Link Plan in the very early stages, we actually asked some stakeholders and asked consultants who were working with us, what's their image of Monroe County? And universally they said, well, it's someplace that we drive by on our way to someplace else. We didn't like that image. We didn't like how we were perceived by others. So how do we really present our image as to truly what we are? And what they came up with was Michigan's Cornerstone. You know, we're located right here, right? And we are the cornerstone of the state for a variety of reasons. This is to take nothing away from the individual brands of each individual community in Monroe County, but it's a comprehensive brand, hopefully drawing tourism dollars and visitors to our county. Creates a countywide identity that promotes our local communities and the Tourism Bureau with a common marketing platform to use the brand to strengthen partnerships. Local community and other businesses are already embracing the brand and using it in different ways. You've probably already seen the coasters that are around. Matt's going to pass these around. Place cards. Let's see, I think there were some carry-out bags that Tim was demonstrating earlier. And there are other ways that we're just now starting to promote. Matt has visited, I don't know, how many institutions, Matt?
So 10 businesses right now have the merchandise
That they're distributing.
So,
right.
Yep. So these were at Forest Family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, these were at Forest View Lanes not too long ago. You'll see them at Mason Jar soon. The coasters will be at Pavlov's in about a week or so. Currently, you can find the coasters at Forest View as well, and then Original Gravity Brewing up in Milan has them. So we scattered them throughout the county.
Through some of the outreach that the BDC has done, primarily Matt, the BDC's created 270 brand ambassadors within our community that are promoting the brand both internally and externally. And I think we've actually developed some influencers, I'm putting that in, right? Influencers that are going to be promoting the brand on social media. You'll continue to see this brand through various websites. It's now on the county website, and it's on other websites, including the BDC's, and that will hopefully continue to proliferate and show more and more. So together with that, and the event calendar going forward, you're going to see it displayed prominently. So the event calendar actually continue to promote it outwardly as well as within the community. Those principles and ideals from both the brand and now the Michigan Cornerstone Community Event Calendar, it's really to link and connect our communities, what they have to offer, and the very best of what we offer. It represents the ideal that we bring ourselves together through strengthened partnerships with all of our neighboring communities and promote these ideas. Really the idea is make the pie bigger. We're making Monroe County bigger as a tourism destination. That way, each of our individual pieces of the pie also become bigger as a result. So we really are Michigan's cornerstone, and I think Matt will show you a little more about how this event calendar works and give you some details. Matt.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I would encourage everyone to go on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have pages live on there. We're constantly promoting Monroe County businesses and Monroe County individuals that are doing cool things. So a lot of that traction is starting to pick up. I think we have about 500 followers on the Instagram page and about 650 on the Facebook page right now, with about 100 and so on the Twitter account as well. So anything that you can share. I know we've been putting a lot of stuff out on the Bedford Township page and some of the other pages for the community as well, just to bring awareness for different events and things that are going on. But a lot of cool stuff happening in that regard, and it's really great to see people taking pride in the community and showcasing the best of what Monroe has to offer. As Doug said, I'm going to now take you through the events calendar. So when you log on to, it's a very simple URL, www.michcornerstone.com/events. And that pulls up this calendar. Over the course of the last 8 to 10 months, the county's GIS team has been building this tool, tweaking it. It's gone through a few revisions to this point. We're still looking for people to go on and test it. So we would love it if you guys would plug in events, Bedford Township events or anything that you have on the horizon. A team reviews those, make sure that they're good to go, and puts them up on this. As you can see, it's a calendar view with the events in chronological order down the side. As you work with it, there are a few other different ways that you can interact with the events. As you can see here, we've also plugged a number of special attractions, hotels, amenities, parks, historical sites into this map as well. So if you're going on for an event, you can see on the map there's a few events that are up on there. They're in the blue, and then you have restaurants and different amenities that are around there. So if someone's not from the community, they can go on this, see it, and be like, okay, well, I'm going to this event. Say they're going to the Bedford fireworks, and they want to go to Pavlov's or something afterwards to grab a drink. They can see Pavlov's on this map and see the proximity. And if they're coming from a long ways away, There's also hotels, motels, everything on there as well. So kind of a cool way to see it. You can pick events based on the map. And then this is just a screenshot of the form that you just go on, fill out, really easy. Just probably about 6 or 7 questions just about your event, wanting more details. And it's really a unique way to put your event, get more marketing promotion around that event, and have it come up here as well. You have the option to share the event on Facebook, let people know that you're going. So it's integrated with most of the social media platforms that we all commonly use. So as I said, encourage you guys to go on, start uploading events. Encourage the residents of Bedford Township to go on and upload events as well. All in all, I think this will be a great tool for both residents and visitors alike to use when trying to find things to do throughout the week in Monroe County. And now I'm going to turn things over to Ms. Vanasacker to discuss community partnership.
Thank you, Matt. Good evening, everyone. I'm excited to be here. Again, I'm Sue Vanasacker, and I'm from Lazy Boy. And the thought is, why is Lazy Boy involved in this? Well, as a large employer in this town, we care about what's happening in the community. And we want a place for our employees to live, work, and play, right? So many times people say, well, I don't know what's going on in Monroe County, and this brings it all together. So that's why Lazy Boy's involved, and that's why I'm a proud member of the Pillar team. So again, connecting our communities. So the idea is pulling everyone together, new combined committee that's going to provide the oversight to this. And again, I can't stress enough the fact that we're not trying to overshadow the branding that you already have in your community. This is an overarching brand that can pull all the communities from Newport to Bedford to Milan to Luna Pier all together. The structure includes representative stakeholders. So the thought is I'm involved from a big company standpoint, from a world-known company, but we've got small companies, we've got township representation, and again, we've been taking this on the road, the show on the road, talking to all the different communities to try to pull everyone together. It's recommended by the strategic plan of the Tourism Bureau, so the Tourism Bureau is 100% on board with this. And then finally, the idea of connecting everyone together. And then finally, the ask. So together, the Monroe County Planning and Community Engagement team has done a really good job of developing this events calendar, and we appreciate the county's leading this for us with Mike Bosonic and his team. But now we're looking to all of our different communities. So the continued leadership and support of the LINK plan from all of you. And then there's a resolution coming up, and our hope is that you'll support that resolution in terms of helping us to put something like this on your Facebook page, on your community page, so that there's a link that links all of us together. Any questions that I can answer or anyone else here tonight? Yes.
It's on. All right, so I have a question for you.
Certainly.
How is your program any different than my Google Maps that does all that? Well, my kid's wrestling football, I'm in another town or something else. What restaurants are around? What's up? I mean,
Sure.
It's already there. And also,
I think
how much is this gonna cost
Matt,
us?
you might want to take this, but I think the idea is the events are going to be pulled in as well. So if you've got a Bedford craft show going on, it's going to show that and then things around it as well. Matt, you may want to.
I think that sums it up.
And also, second, what about cost? What is this going to cost us?
So as of right now, nothing. This has already been generated thanks to dollars that the county supported through the LINK plan. It was probably a 2-year process developing the brand and all of the additional portions, but there could be a time in the future where it would call on some community support to keep it alive. But I think the real goal is to have the Tourism Bureau, who has a sustainable stream of income coming from from hotel stays within the community, really take this on and run with it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the ultimate goal, regarding funding is that there will be advertising available eventually through this event planning calendar, and so it'll be self-sustaining through that advertising.
Yeah, I really don't think we want to be showcasing the Bedford Inn and the Deluxe Hotel. Those aren't really choice landed hotels.
Yeah, but as you know, as Matt and Sue said earlier, the real focus of this calendar is the events in our community. It's built around the events, not around locations, although that's part of it, and it links to that, but it's really the events that we can just, advertise for each of our communities.
Scheduling events, I know there's always been an issue with, well, when we scheduled the Blizzard Fest, well, we didn't realize that Monroe's got a Christmas festival going on as well. So that'll eliminate a lot of that. Get on the calendar, see what's plugged in, and try not to double book bigger events. So, but I know as being a part of it and how hard you guys have worked on it, and I appreciate it, and I know this will be a really good thing. Even if it's not widely successful right now, eventually it will be, and it'll be something we can, be proud of. So we appreciate it. Anybody else have any comments or questions? No? Thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Okay. At this time, it's time for public comment. Comments limited to 5 minutes for board agenda items only.
My name's Ken Gagne, 8311 Lambert Street. I don't want to mislead anybody, but I want to touch base on the Tahoe for the fire department. Is there a cost savings going 2021, being this close to the new ones coming out? Or would it be better to go at 2022? That's my only concern, because we're so far at the end of the season. And if it's not going to be a big cost savings, maybe we just go for the 2022. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Have a good night. Any more comments?
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. I wanted to speak to a couple things. One would be regarding 8C. I thought the comments voiced at the planning department meeting were valid and should be taken into consideration. The concern is not so much that where it's going, but the traffic impact that's going to be made at that intersection. And I have voiced to some of you already the concerns with that. Video production, you can't beat George. Sorry, but he's a great guy. Would like to be able to call in, though, from home. The culverts. Why? All of a sudden, we have a problem with 6 road culverts. Is there an engineer report? Can we wait for the Fed and the state infrastructure monies to come in before we take this out of our pocket? And then regarding the My Cornerstone community events, it would be nice if we had public comment time following a presentation beyond just what is on our agenda. My concern is that we have, I don't do Facebook. I don't do Twitter, twat, whatever you want to call it. I have nothing to do with that stuff. I read the newspaper. Dale Zorn always sends out his list, and Dean Kuzno always put out a yearly thing, and I would always make sure that I took care of Bedford Township. And things are growing, and I know that there's changes. So there needs to be something for those people that, whoa, okay, the Lord has spoken. So there needs to be a way to change this for those of us that don't do that fancy social media stuff. But who's going to take charge of this? Is it to say that I can get on and put my garage sale on? What's going to prevent the political showboating that may take place, where people get on and want to, do things because it's a political, or they're trying to entice people to vote for them? And so that's the concern. Who's going to control this? And it's, am I going to see this publicly, but is the township going to take charge of this for our township to be posting on this? Because we did have some issues with Facebook and people being banned
from being able to post, and we are banned from commenting. So I'm just trying to see a big picture here. That's all, folks. I'm not negative, anti, or anything. It's a good thing. So, but there's an awful lot of questions still not answered, I think. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. Any more comments from the public? Okay. Seeing none, moving on to 6A, request to order a 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe for the fire department. Ms. Janusek, did you want to speak to it?
I can.
Okay.
Sorry, I can. I spoke with Adam today, and in regards to needing or wanting to purchase the 2021 Chevy Tahoe. What will happen is this was part of, back in 2016, the Bedford Vehicle Capital Improvement Plan. It just was put off because in 2014, we received an expedition from the police department. So that's why it was put off. He's requesting that we purchase it because the expedition is approaching 100,000 miles, having increased mechanical issues, and believe it's appropriate to completely retire the vehicle from emergency services. He said it was planned to be purchased during the 2021 budget year, but the funds are available in the apparatus and equipment fund. So
That pretty much sums it up. Yeah, it is part of the plan. And the expedition is getting old, and it's. I'm not sure what the board wants to do with the expedition. I know it did come from the sheriff's department, but any more comments or questions? Ms. Hirschberger?
In talking to Adam, what he is planning to do is the white car that Doug currently drives and the Expedition, he's going to look at those, and whichever is in better shape he would like to keep, and that would be the vehicle that Doug would continue driving to do his inspections. And then the one Tahoe, the newer one, would go to the chief because he puts a lot of miles on it. The other one would go to Station 3, and that would do the rescue calls because they need that, at least one at Station 3 to do those.
Okay. Mr. Steiner?
Yeah, and just another note, the 2021 versus 2022 question came up. Obviously, each year there's higher costs, so the 22 would cost more money, but as we've all heard through the news and everything else and in the media, the microchip shortage is causing so many production delays in manufacturing automobiles that even if we were to order a 22, we would have no idea when we could get it. I'm very closely tied, of course, because I work in automotive, and things are so far behind. The predictions on microchips, they're talking way into 2022 before a lot of it lets up. So who knows when we could get another vehicle if we try to order brand new. So we are getting current day prices if we select for the 2021. As Adam stated, Fire Chief Maskill stated that we delayed the actual purchase in 2018 and brought on the 2014 Expedition. Vehicle like that at 100,000 miles, if you're going to drive it consistently, I will say a four-wheel drive vehicle like that, you probably are going to end up with more and more expenses down the road. So limiting how much we use that instead of a high mileage vehicle, I think is probably a good thing that we do go with the 21 as recommended by the chief.
Any more thoughts, comments? Okay, seeing none, I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to purchase from Berger Chevrolet Incorporated a 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe four-wheel drive with a police package at the cost of $39,985, with the understanding that the 2018 Tahoe will be moved to Station 3 to be used as an emergency vehicle.
Support. Okay, motion supported by Mr. Bruning. Discussion, Mr. Steiner?
Just a friendly amendment, we should probably at least mention that the fire department will come back at a later date once the vehicle would be purchased for the lighting, radio, lettering, et cetera.
I accept it.
I just want to mention, too, that this is part of the Michigan My Deal purchasing program, so we are getting a great deal. I mean, obviously, $39,000 for a new Tahoe is a great deal. Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 6-0. Okay, item 8A, vouchers for payment. Ms. Hirschberger?
I'd like to make a motion that the following vouchers be approved for payment. General fund in the amount of $143,727.72. Fire district, $16,359.16. Police fund, $305,375.12. Park fund, $515.16. Fire equipment, $2,724.76. Transit system fund, $8,957. Library fund, $1,539.35. Downtown Development Authority, $260.29. Sewer O&M fund, $1,848.73. Trust and Agency Fund, $495.27, for a grand total of $481,802.56.
Support.
Okay, motion is supported by Ms. Januzak. Discussion?
I just want to add one thing. Under the general fund, I don't know if anyone caught it, but there was a $64,641 payment, and that is the last payment on the cemetery going to the sewer fund, so the cemetery is now paid in full.
Very cool. Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Hirschberger votes aye. Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Montray?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 6-0. Item 8B, resolution of support for the Michigan Cornerstone Community Events Calendar. Okay. Anybody have any comments or questions? Thoughts? Okay. I'll make a motion that we support the resolution for the Michigan Cornerstone Community Events Calendar.
Second.
Motion in support of Mr. Steiner. Discussion?
Question. The last sentence, or the last paragraph here, whereas Bedford Township will give consideration for annual funding contribution to help defray costs of continuing development. I would think that they would come back if that was going to be part of it, since there's no cost in this, or we eliminate that.
Well, it says
until a
will
future.
give consideration.
Consideration.
So that
Right,
key
I
word right
understand
there.
that.
So if
But
the township
we're
board
doing
would
a
like to
resolution.
be financially involved, they can. If not, the option's there. I'm fine with leaving it. If Mr. Steiner, you want to?
If you want to just add to that, if you feel better, just say that any funding would have to come back to the board for approvals.
I would be okay with
Just,
that.
yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm fine with that. I mean, okay. Any more discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Peroni?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
Okay, the motion passed 6-0. Thanks again. Item 8C, rezoning request from R-3 LVOD Single Family Residential within the Lambertville Overlay District to RM-1 LVOD Multifamily Residential within the Lambertville Overlay District on parcel 5802-019-125-05. Mr. Steiner, would you like to take this one?
Sure. This came before the Planning Commission, and there was quite a bit of public comment also at the time. Of course, with any kind of development like this, there's always going to be some kind of concerns and any kind of impacts to the community and surrounding areas. It was recommended by Manick and Smith Group after their review to recommend the approval of the rezoning, and the Planning Commission also deliberated, and here are the reasons that the recommendation was made by the Planning Commission, and a couple of comments. Planning Commission voted to approve/recommend to the Township Board to rezone parcel 5802-019-125-05 from R3 Lambertville Overlay District 1 Family Residential to RM1 Lambertville Overlay District Multifamily on the northwest corner of Dean and Secor Road. Some of the reasons that the recommendation was made is it's a mixed-use development with apartments above commercial is what's being proposed. It's consistent with the Township Master Plan and Lambertville Village Center future land use designation. It's less than 1 mile from the DDA and primary business center, which presents opportunities for future pedestrian connections. It's a mixed-use development and is supported by nearby utility infrastructure. The property has adequate room to preserve the site natural features, but also eliminate some negative impacts of potentially higher density development within any lower intensity uses through screenings, landscaping, and buffering of the property. It must go through site plan reviews and approvals with the Planning Commission, where the Planning Commission will have direction regarding restrictions and any kind of specifics that must be applied to preserve the property and the surrounding areas. The property could also have a full commercial development as it stands today with the current zoning. So in other words, the builder and developer, he could develop it today, full-blown commercial. And again, like I said, it was recommended by Manick and Smith, and it was also voted and recommended by the full Planning Commission. Are there any comments, questions? Okay. Well, if there are no comments or questions, I'll ask the clerk to basically take what I had just read there, and I'll make that as part of my motion to recommend the rezoning of parcel 5802-019-125-05 from R3 Lambertville Overlay District 1 Family Residential to RM1 Lambertville Overlay District Multifamily as proposed.
Support.
Okay, motion and support of Ms. Januzak. Discussion?
Pass that down to Trudy.
I just want to say that I think it'd be a really nice addition to that area. It's walkable. It's got businesses, to live there. And, I mean, you have so much stuff around you in that area that you can access by living there. So I think it's a pretty cool development myself. So, okay, any more comments, questions? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 6-0. Good luck on the project. Item 8D, renewal of the agreement for video production services. Ms. Hirschberger?
This agreement is for George and his professional services. The contract is exactly the same as it was 2 years ago, just the dates have changed. The amount and the work that he does is all the same. So I'd like to make, unless there's comments, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agreement for delivery of professional services effective September 20th, 2021 between Bedford Township and George Welling for 2 years.
I'll support it. And I'd just like to say I'd like to publicly thank George for all his hard and extra work he'd done over the last year and a half with being on Microsoft Teams. He had a lot of extra work he had to do setting up the back room for that, and just a lot went into it. And I know he had a lot of extra time involved with a bunch of other committees, helping them out and stuff like that. So we appreciate the extra time and effort he did over last year. We appreciate it, Mr. Steiner.
And just to echo that sentiment too, Mr. Welling and his team have done a really good job for the township. And I will say that I think anybody, especially the full-timers that are here all the time, can say that George and his team, they actually put in a lot more hours than this contract says. Mm-hmm. There's times where I know that after these meetings, George, these meetings just don't go automatic sometimes with what he's got to keep and the way he's got to format everything. You know, George sits around for sometimes probably an hour or two having to put things together after meetings to make sure that it's appropriate for being able to republish. So again, the extra hours in there too says a lot for him and his team.
And quite frankly, if we were to put this out for bid, we'd be over 6 figures
Oh yeah, it'd be a
to
lot.
get what he's doing. So, you know, we appreciate the service to the community. Okay. Let's call the roll, please.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passed 6-0. Item 8E, adopt ordinance 24A-29, amendment to the sanitary sewage disposal system ordinance. Mr. Sergo?
Good evening. Timothy Sergo, representing the Monroe County Drain Commissioner as Deputy Drain Commissioner, 1005 South Raisinville Road, Monroe, Michigan. We're requesting that this board look into amending your
Pull
sewer
your mic
ordinance.
up closer to you.
Amending the sewer ordinance to clarify responsibility of the utility, which is the sanitary sewer owned by Bedford Township, and the leads leading to the homes or businesses. We've experienced a few times each year where those leads get tree roots in them, get hit by other utilities and such, and that lead only represents for that individual property or commercial business. So we're asking that that be defined in an amendment to the ordinance, that whose responsibility is to maintain that lead and or install it when they need it.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Sergo? Okay, I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the proposed amendment to the Bedford Township Sanitary Sewage Disposal System Ordinance number 24A-29 for sewer lateral obligations as presented.
Second.
Is that a support by you, Mr. Steiner?
Second.
Okay. Okay, motion and support of Mr. Steiner. Discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Jandisek?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passes 6-0. Item 8F, replacement of 6 road culverts, Flat Creek Drain, Indian Creek Drain, Bragnon Run, Dombrowski Drain, Lavoy Drain, and Petey Drain. Mr. Sergo?
Yes, representing the Monroe County Drain Commissioner, again, as you know, we take care of the storm sewer systems and county drains, not all storm sewer systems, and the county drains have been designated for the county to maintain, or the county drain commissioner maintain. And, you know, briefly, that the area was a marsh. We populated in the 1800s. We built 1,100 of these man-made ditches throughout the county, and therefore we have the most ditches of any county in the state of Michigan. So therefore, every time there's a road crossing one of these ditches, there's a culvert or a bridge, and over time they deteriorate and need to be replaced. There are a couple of things that facilitated Frank Westenkirch. First of all, we work very closely with the Road Commission. The two departments do, and the bridge engineer is retiring in December. So he's trying to identify for all the townships the crossings that are near the end of their life or have structural problems. A couple of those that are on that list are the structure isn't failing completely, but the joints are going bad or separating, so they need to be fixed and or relayed and doing some different things to them. So we have a program where we have qualified contractors bidder list. We put together a short bid form. We put them out for bid. The lowest competitive bidder, we put together our costs to bring back for these local roads for the townships to fix and or replace.
How far out, Tim, do you guys know about these drains failing or
About
culverts
these
failing?
culverts?
Yeah.
It depends on the size. So they're inspected at different intervals based on either the span of the bridge or the size of the culvert. But I know Frank would try to go to look at them every 3 to 4 years.
Because for like us, I mean, our budget times in the late spring, and we didn't budget for this, so it's kind of a.
So let me tell you what's happening. Because Frank's retiring, and I'm not getting any younger, and we also know that there has been stimulus money provided by the federal government for infrastructure replacement. We're putting them out there. Now, there's only one of these that is going to fail soon. That's Flat Creek at Crab Road. There's already a hole in a road. The joints have opened up so far you can go in there and put your, so it's, at some point, we're going to have to close the road, and then it becomes a crisis because the school buses, emergency vehicles, people can't get to work, et cetera. So, and then you don't have the luxury of time. So ideally, we want to replace them or fix them before they get closed. But you have time. So you don't have to do this. You could approve it so as the funds come available, or if you want to use some of those funds, or.
So just so the public knows and the board, whose responsibility ultimately is it to fix these?
That is the policy currently that local roads fall under the jurisdiction of the townships or the cities or villages. Primary roads are the county responsibility.
Well, no roads are the responsibility of the township. I know that for sure, but there's no funding. There's not enough funding, correct? That's the ultimate reason. Yes. Okay, there's not enough funding through the local road system.
Policy of the road commission for the last
the local,
50 years or whatever.
The road commission is responsible for all roads and the maintenance of them.
So
not
if the
not
road
the
was
local
to fail and you didn't pay to fix it because of the culvert, it would stay closed.
It would close it, but it would be the road commission's job to get it up to snuff at some point if they ever wanted to open it, not the townships.
They would choose not to. We had culverts in the past that have stayed closed.
And that's the problem that we've had with our roads over the past 30 years is we chose not to. And we saw what happened, and that's when the township board picked it up and started putting monies out of their general funds. I just want the public to know that.
Just so you know, that Governor Snyder kind of put the drain commissioners in the middle because he passed a bill in 2013 that allowed the drain commissioners to go in and replace these for the road commission and the local municipalities. And we are exempt from state permitting for doing these. So so there's very little engineering. Basically, we looked at the existing crossing and replaced it as with is, and we can't increase it more than 24 feet in length. So these crossings that we price out basically are the price of the materials and the bid price to replace it. We charge you no engineering, no inspections, so it's kind of a service that the drain commissioner is offering in conjunction with the road commission because we all want to keep the roads open. And that was the intent of the law. Mm-hmm. Was the exact intent of the governor at that time was we have all these roads closing and we've got to allow these local municipalities the ability with the drain commissioner to keep them open.
Yeah. Well, the real problem is the state's $400 billion underfunded for the road system. So that's the ultimate problem.
I don't disagree with you.
So local municipalities stepping up is a must to keep the roads, Okay. Mr. Steiner?
So just a couple questions. I know you said some could be fixed or relayed.
That's what I proposed.
Now, so my question is, of course, you said Flat Creek drain probably going to fail soon.
Yes.
So with the other 5 culverts, I mean, do you have a score on these where you say, Indian Creek, you know what, it's got to be done within the next year, maybe 2 years. Do you have any kind of scoring on these, when they need to be done? And when would the work be started and finished based on an approval date for each project?
Basically we have.
Can you come close to the mic?
We have the 4 pre-qualified contractors, and they know that sometimes these don't get approved or the funding for up to a year. So there's time to work. The only consideration that could change a little bit in the cost is the price of the materials because they go up at the first of the year. But all of these have issues, all these crossings. I'm just telling you, the one at Flat Creek, there literally is a depression in the road, which means there's going to be a hole. Mm-hmm. And when it happens, we typically fill it. I don't. The road commission fills it once or twice, and then they have to post the road or close it.
Mm-hmm. Do you foresee any more drains coming up in the next few years so we can plan for them, or is this kind of it for the foreseeable future?
We have because of COVID, there's been a backlog of drains. For some reason, the agriculture community has just been petitioning drains. They're literally coming out our ears to do. We have over 20 of them backlogged. I probably have well over 100 miles. Not a whole lot in Bedford. Tile drains tend to be very expensive because of the cost of the materials. And for some reason, a lot of the larger drainage districts are being petitioned, the Lockwoods, the Plums, they go all the way through the middle of the county, 15 miles, 20 miles long.
So,
None of them in Bedford that I recall right at this moment. I didn't bring my list.
so Mr. Steiner, the reason they're here tonight, obviously, is the federal aid money. Is
Right.
something we can put towards it and get it done, you know, and we don't have to worry about spending general fund dollars in the future.
Right, but I was thinking too, if we did decide to go that route with ARPA funds, again, as we stated at the last meeting, oh, this came up, this project, we could use that, or this one could, to be able to, if we make sense to say, let's space it out, if it makes sense to, you know, if something's got solid 2 years left in it, maybe space that out as a little bit later in the project, because those funds are going to be usable all the way through 2026. So that way we, you know, hopefully we
So
can.
get them done within the end of the time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So Tim, which two would you recommend you say to do ASAP?
Well, the one main one is really the Crab Road at Flat Creek. That has really been on the watch list for the last year or two because of the depression in the road. The other ones on, I think there's two on Minks Road. Those are very old structures.
You got to
Probably
come closer to the mic.
1930s or 1940s.
George is going to come shove you.
Okay. So, really, the Flat Creek is the most important one and is a very highly traveled road, I think, in that part of the township. But they're all going to need to be replaced
Okay.
in a couple of years and or fixed. When I say fixed, sometimes we take, if it's a culvert where it's a round pipe or elliptical, we try to take it out intact and put some new pieces in the middle and relay the older ones on the end and try to reuse some of the materials as long as they come out
Bob,
fine.
can you come up to the mic? How's this going to work with coordinating the dollars and getting it from the state with getting the work done? Is that something that you're aware of, Bob? I mean, if we approve this tonight to do Flat Creek at $62,000 and 210, you know, how are we going to coordinate getting that? You know, are we available to get the monies now with putting stuff out?
You're talking the ARPA funds.
Yes.
One thing I have to caution about the ARPA funds, we have to create the committee. The committee then will decide what we'll do with the money. Obviously, this would qualify, but if the committee decides to go a different route, we can't count on 100%.
Well, I'm not asking that question. I'm not worried about that. I'm asking if we did approve it tonight to potentially use the ARPA funds, and the committee approved it.
Yep.
How long does it take to get the dollars and to
We should
coordinate
have
with it?
our first, I call it tranche, our first payment within 30 days.
Okay, so it's something that we can.
1.6?
Yes, that's correct. 1.6, he said.
1.6, give or take a few dollars.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Bob.
You're
Appreciate it. So does the board want to wait till after we form the committee or do we want to approve it now with the, and put a stipulation in there upon approval of the committee or recommendation of the committee to come back to the board? We could put something like that in there.
I have another question.
Okay, go ahead.
So we have money right now in our road maintenance of $210,000. Potentially, could we use that just to fix Flat Creek since it's in dire shape? And then if the ARPA funds, can we put it back? It's for you.
That's similar to the question we had last meeting about being able to reimburse the fund.
Yep. Good question. I did confirm that we can go back to actually, to expand that question further, back to March of 2021. So if we had any projects that started after March, we could use ARPA funds for it and go backward. It'd be the same for this specific question. We could take the money out of the line item in the road fund, and then if the committee so chooses, we could put the money back and use ARPA funds.
Yeah, I don't know if we should do that. Because, you know, that we only have so much money in there to do the road projects.
But if this is failing, we don't want a road to shut down. That's all I'm thinking.
Is it an
for
emergency,
one.
Tim? It's not an
No,
emergency. It's
typically-
not going to fail tomorrow.
Typically, what happens is 95% of the time, the whole forms, and
It could be 5
we
years.
open it up, we pour some concrete slurry in there and kind of bind it back up, and it'll hold for months, not years. So
But
it
it
buys
could,
you time.
it could hold for years.
It could hold for a year.
It could.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a long time.
Yeah, we
It's not
have some
dire.
poor townships where, we nurse them along for a couple of years. You're always worried about the road collapsing and somebody driving.
Well,
in.
if it does get to that point, then we could act quicker, but obviously you're going to fill the hole. It's a solid concrete, it's a solid road at that point.
You
It's
could
just,
bring all 6 of these up to your committee and see if that's something they
Yeah.
want to spend their money on.
okay, what's the pleasure of the board? I just don't think it would be the best idea to pull out of our general fund, road maintenance fund, because there's not a ton in it. We only budgeted so much, and then have to worry about getting replenished.
Do we have any idea when the committee is going to meet? Coming
We're
up
getting
here?
applications right now to fulfill the committee.
Okay,
So we still have to wait till the finalization date of the
because we should
committee,
be
which is
getting
a
those back
couple more
when?
weeks. Couple more
More
weeks?
weeks,
A
yeah.
couple more weeks. So if anybody would like to join, please fill out an application.
I didn't realize we had that much time left. Okay.
Couple more weeks. So after that, we just come to the board and we form it and in a couple months, we could have a decision made,
So
on
you're-
kind of
you're
an
looking
idea.
Probably more like an October timeframe. We've done things in the past too, where if you voted on something, you could put it contingent upon, and, with that date in mind, knowing that committee's probably not going to meet until, like I said, probably not till October, maybe late September, but most likely October. There's no guarantee that the committee's going to go that route, but if you provide the facts to them, I would hope that the committees would consider going this direction, especially when it's,
Well, how many's on the committee?
it'll be 7
It'll be 7.
for now. There could become a point where,
Ultimately, the board decides what to do with the money. It's not the
Correct.
committee. So I'm not
right,
necessarily
committee's a
worried about
recommending
what the-
body, it's not the.
They're recommending, how to properly use the money. So, it's
Because
something
they
if
could
we
recommend,
decide
we
we
could
want-
say no.
No, yeah, so
I'm okay with moving forward on this, especially since we are going to be able to look at using ARPA funds for this type of project.
yeah.
And again, I think starting with the one that's in the failure mode, start there, and then looking at when the ARPA funds do come in, again, you don't want to spend it all at once, because you also don't want to spend it and say, oh my God, there's another project we should have done. That's when the committee can really start to talk about it after we get the first one done. And Mr. Sergo, if we went for this very first one, when would that Flat Creek one possibly start?
I'd have to confer with the contractor. It is a paved road by asphalt, so we would have 2 alternatives. One, try to get it paved before the asphalt plants close, or schedule it as soon as the asphalt plant opens in the
So in
spring.
the spring.
We got
See,
quite
that's
a
the
bit
other
of
thing too, if we wait, it very well could, go through the winter. Maybe it won't.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to, we're so close with the committee, why don't we just table it for a couple of months and revisit this? It's up to you, but
I'll make a motion, we table it for now, till we get the committee formed and move forward from there.
Support.
Okay, motion and support of Mr. Montry, discussion. Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Peroni?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
Okay, thanks, Tim, for being here, appreciate it. Okay, item 8G, discussion on whether to schedule a public hearing regarding the liquor license issued to Jeff LLC. Mr. Camper?
There apparently is a license, a Class C license, that has been designated for Jeff LLC for a development bar and grill in Lambertville next to the Kroger store. That approval and the site plan has been over a year and a half, probably more, over 2 years or more since those approvals have been put in place. The license was designated for them as an applicant. The actual license has not been granted because they have no premises to assign the license to. So one of the conditions the township put on the grant of license was that they complete their development and use the license within 18 months. That time frame has long been passed. There's a thought that they may perhaps not even go forward with their development. I think there was some contact with their office just recently, maybe today, I don't know, and they seemed to indicate that they had no plans to move forward. I'd like to see some more written confirmation of that. What we have here then before you is a question of, okay, should we follow the procedure in the ordinance, the township ordinance for awarding and or revoking liquor licenses? And if you want to go forward with a review of this license, the process would be to start or publish for a notice of public hearing in the newspaper and give notice to the applicant, and they can come in and show cause why their license should be continued or the time frame for them to develop their parcel or not, and the township can ask questions and then determine if the time frame should be extended for them and or a recommendation to revoke the license. It's merely a recommendation. The state of Michigan, the Liquor Control Commission, carries the license, and we would be recommending to them to revoke their application since the license actually has not been issued. And generally, the Liquor Control Commission would then take that action if the township proceeded in that course. Another thought was if we, I guess, contacted them further to see if they would voluntarily confirm that they have no interest in developing their project, and therefore they weren't going to have a premises for this license, and if they would voluntarily relinquish their conditional rights to it, it seems to me that we would not have to have a public hearing and the determination. We could just send the determination along with a copy of their written confirmation up to Lansing and ask them to revoke it. So the normal course would be we set a public hearing unless maybe we can get something in writing from the license holder or the conditional license holder saying they no longer wish to proceed in that way.
Questions, comments from board members? So I had brought this to the agenda because I had a resident reaching out that was putting in a new restaurant and putting a building together and was asking, hey, what do we do to go about getting a liquor license? And I told him, well, there's one that's kind of in limbo. You'd have to go apply at the township, but there's one that is in limbo that's kind of whatever. And like what I put in the agenda notes is that's what the last I remember, and I believe that we had in writing from Jeff LLC. I forget when that was, if that was in February or before, that their legal had sent some sort of correspondence saying, like, yeah, we're not going to be moving forward with this. And I've talked to, I don't know what, if they would relinquish, or if I would think it would be more prudent to just follow a normal course of action with the public hearing, but just based on
the information I have with one of the representatives from Jeff LLC, it just doesn't sound like they're not moving forward. But I don't know that he wants to necessarily just relinquish it either. So that would be, I believe that we have correspondence from them stating, and like I said, I don't remember if anybody else remembers that. I thought it was in February or so that we were kind of, that the next step just to officially be done with this would be to do a public hearing. But because they had said that they weren't going to be moving forward.
That would be the safest course of action, rather than waiting to see if they respond. If you're ready to take action on this, then I think you should notice it up for a public hearing.
And that's what I had put, like, I didn't think that there was any sort of urgency on it prior, but if we have a resident of the township looking to open something and requesting a liquor license, I would think that that does present some urgency, that, okay, we should go ahead and move forward with it. And I don't know, that's my,
You want to
that
make a
would be
motion?
what I would think.
Rick has a question.
Mr. Steiner?
Oh, go ahead.
Ms. Hersberger?
Could we make a motion that, because there's time between this meeting and the next meeting, I have to publish within 10 days, that we could contact them to see if they'll give us something in writing, and if not, we publish at that deadline? If the board is okay with that.
You took the words out of my mouth. That's what I was going to recommend.
I was just trying to save money in publishing.
Can we
a
use
public hearing if
use their previous one?
I don't have anything. I would ask them to address it to myself so that the board has it.
Okay.
How long ago was that when we gave them the extension?
The original.
The original was quite a while
in
ago.
mid 2018 was
Yeah.
the original.
No, we gave them another
January,
extension.
in January of this
20.
year, no, in January of this year, we spoke about whether or not they were going forward and should we have a public hearing, because they weren't sure at that point because of COVID, but then nothing has been done since then.
Okay, so do we have a motion? Somebody
I
want to
didn't
make a
know
motion?
if you were
Well, what do you
okay
want to
with that.
do? Well, the only thing that
Well-
what I don't want to do is go, well, are we going to say, let's see if they'll relinquish, and then if they don't, do you got to go through the whole runaround again to have the public hearing?
The
or
bottom line is.
What
we need
I
to get
was
the
thinking
license
is-
back. It's been too long. They've had plenty of time to start a project and go through the planning process. COVID's been here and gone, so we need to start the public hearing and get the license back and move forward.
My idea was to notify them, but at that point where I had to publish if we have not heard from them. If I don't
So
have
put a
something in
contingency
hand.
on the motion that we'll have the public hearing unless we have a relinquishing letter within,
Prior to publishing the meeting.
Prior to the publication date.
that's my motion.
I'll second.
Motion is in front of Mr. Steiner. Yeah. Any more discussion, comments?
That'll just save us.
I mean, I was excited, just as anybody with this board, to see them put that building up and make it a really cool sports bar, but it just didn't happen. You know, and I don't see it happening.
And
Cost of
COVID,
construction and cost
know,
of everything to do it.
the cost of COVID
You know,
really hurts.
we gave them extra time, extra chances, and extensions, and it's not happening. So we need to get the license back. So, just call the roll, please.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Ms. Janasek?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 6-0. Item 9, comments from the public. Comments limited to 2 minutes for each individual. Come on up.
I fixed the mic this time to start with, because I knew I'd mess up. Comer Carey, 1024 Borg. I'm back here beating what I believe is a dead horse, but when the residents of Wanda Estates were here for the last board meeting, we were upset with the $15,800 price for the roads, but we were also upset to some of the answers by Trudy. She said we already had a meeting. Well, the meeting was 2 years ago. The meeting was 2 years ago, and the price and scope of the project drastically changed. Trudy stated in her letter that the meeting could not be made until we decided to keep our names on the petition. Now, people have removed their names, and I guess we're not going to get a meeting. Trudy further stated that she is just the go-between on these road projects. And I did some research and kind of looked it up, and she is just the go-between. However, she is our elected official on these road projects, and we expect that within 2 years, we should get some information in a timely manner. COVID or not, elections or not, we need to be informed to make our decisions pertinent for this project. You know, multiple times members of Wanda Estates came to township offices and either got no answers on how the project was going, or ultimately some were told the options for the road were $8,000, $10,000, $12,000. No communication came until out of the blue, we received this letter that suddenly the project was 15-8, or take your name off the petition. Now, I talked to Manick and Smith, and they basically told me that they had given more than just the one proposal.
Mr. Carey,
Many of
time
us
is
still
up.
want a meeting. Thank you.
Okay, any more comments from the public?
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. We still have grass growing on Lewis Avenue, so I'm going to submit a request that they clean that up, okay, Mr. Peroni? There is also, when these culverts get inspected, it would be nice then if they could give a report to the township so you guys could plan appropriately. And again, this is another good item that points out that we need to have a road committee to be informed that will also be informed on these other things here. My big question is nothing was mentioned about where Erie voted. 2 of those roads, we partner with Erie. So whatever we decide, and again, this is our code of ethics, where what we do here does impact some of the other surrounding communities, and nothing was said whether Erie has voted to go ahead and move on theirs. Well, if we don't, and they do, now we have a dilemma between the townships in trying to work together for that. And so, these culverts are an iffy thing. Most of our roads, though, our drainage systems have to be petitioned, and then they're paid for by the drainage district. So my question is I'm wondering why these culverts don't fall under that same criteria, where the drain commissioner petitions and then the drainage district pays for it. So that's about it. And the ARCA funds, there's federal funds and state funds. And are those above and beyond what is the COVID funds, to be frank about it? So I just was curious because Gretchen just keeps emailing me that she's done all this stuff. So I just was trying to make sure that we had it all, if it's separate or if it's all under one lump thing, and that's what it's called. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Have a great night. Any more comments from the public?
I just want to thank the board for the kind words and people in the audience, and looking forward to the next 2 years. And now that the COVID thing's over with, hopefully we can put more videos on for people to watch. That's it. Thank you.
You know,
very much.
you would think as much as George tells people to pull that mic up, you'd think that'd have been the first thing.
I was going to say
pull
the
that
same thing.
daggone mic up.
I was going to say that same. I'm like,
He gets me with that every time. Every time. How is this? Anyway,
There we go.
Thank
That's
you very
better.
much, board and everybody, and more things are coming.
Thank you, George.
Some good news. I was early tonight. I was at the County Board of Commissioners meeting, and they voted unanimously to put the full faith and credit of the county behind a bond issue of $19 million for South County Water to do some new water lines in the water district, of which Bedford is going to have a water loop put in from Secor Road up to Samaria Road, across through Samaria and back down Lewis Avenue, connecting to the new water line in front of Bridgepoint Church, which will provide a lot of reliability and redundancy for the system, which is good for South County Water, but also will provide good, clean, safe water in the little community of Samaria. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Any more comments? Okay, seeing none. Comments from board members? Mr. Steiner?
I just want to reiterate what we heard at the opening of the meeting during the prayer, that all of us, our thoughts go out to the people over in the Middle East, and hopefully that things get settled one way or another, get all the politics out, and just take care of the people. And that's one thing that I really like about Bedford is people here take care of people. So if we could spread that around the world, and every chance we get, spread it and help take care of your neighbors, and sure it'd be a lot better place in the whole world.
Okay. Mr. Montry?
I guess I'll just say, just following with that, with one of ours who is a leader in taking care of other people. Prayers going out to our fire chief, and as he heals up.
Okay. Mr. Bruning?
Yes, I'm just going to mention fireworks, August 27th. On that night, it is also Bedford's first home football game, so get ready for that traffic fiasco. And the fireworks are going to be at Indian Creek Park. I know they have 2 food trucks lined up. One of them's Purple Penguin. I forget who the other one is. The rain date on fireworks is going to be the 28th. So August 27th, fireworks at dusk. The football game is going to start at 7. They're going to light off a firework for that to start it. Potentially football's over at 9, and then the fireworks will start at dusk. So again, that's just what the plan is for the 27th. Other than that, everybody have a good night, good weekend. Thanks.
Okay. Ms. Janizek?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Ms. Hirschberger?
A few things. I'd like to respond to Mr. Carey's questions. I could not give the Special Assessment District any information until I received information from Manick & Smith. Mr. Carey was invited to the meetings that I had with Manick & Smith and was involved and knew that a letter was going to go out with that information. So he was involved. He did have information. I am the go-between. I cannot give information that I don't have. I did have to wait for Manick & Smith to get the information. As soon as they got back with me, that's when I was able to send a letter out to the residents regarding their SAD. At this point, the signatures, enough have been taken off that it has killed the project. And according to everything I know, and Marty, if you want to back this up, I cannot spend taxpayers' money on a petition that is no longer valid. So I cannot have a meeting and spend taxpayers' dollars now that the project is dead. It would have to start over before any more meetings could be held. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay. And then the Township Board, when we approved our meeting dates for this year, we asterisked November 2nd. I will be coming back to the board to ask this board to change the date to November 9th due to the Ida school election that I'll have to be holding that day. The newsletter articles are due August 30th, so if you want to submit one, please make sure you get it to my office by then. The grant committee met. A lot of ideas were shared. One that looks very promising is helping the park board pave White Park, that walking trail that they wanted to pave for ADA compliance. We believe we can get some grant money for that. And then the cemeteries, we were looking at trying to make those a little more maintenance free. The children's section, we're going to see if we can get a grant from the Daughters of the American Revolution, have grant money. We're going to see if they're willing to donate some money, and we'll put some colorful stone there. Less maintenance for our maintenance guys, at least in one cemetery. And Paul already mentioned it, but the American Rescue Plan Act Advisory Committee is still accepting applications until the 30th. So if you're interested, please submit your application. And that's all I have.
Okay. Few things going on. The DDA is hosting its first annual Bedford Boo Bash, October 30th. They're going to have vendors at the Pearl Evergreen Park. free horse rides with carriage rides, and a lot of fun stuff going on for the kids there. That'll be during the day. I'll mention the time next meeting, but I think it's like 1 o'clock. Mr. Bruning mentioned fireworks coming up. The Bedford Township Veterans Golf Outing is August 28th. Little Blessings Annual Warrior fundraisers, the music and food and guest speakers. They'll be happening the 28th as well. So I want to thank Consumers Power for all their hard work they did over the past week to get our township's power back on. These guys were working 16-hour days, and then they hosted an ice cream giveaway to the community for a couple hours, which was a pretty cool thing to do. I think the frustrating thing for Mr. Carey, Mr. Hirschberger, is the time frame. Throughout COVID, we didn't host meetings, which, I've asked you why we didn't host them virtually, which I don't see why we couldn't have done that, and that held it up. And then I know Manica Smith wanted to do meetings, but it was election time, so they were held off for that. So, I mean, we can't put all the blame on Manica Smith.
They did not get me the information until I presented the letter.
That's not what I've heard.
Well, we can get Barry on the phone, but that's when I got the information.
So I just don't want to see Manica Smith being totally thrown under the bus when it's not totally on their shoulders, because we could have had virtual meetings and we could have
Not
made it
without
happen.
the information. And their specific one needed more information on drainage, and that's what took so long. And if you'd like to talk to Barry with me on a conference call to confirm that, I would be more than willing to do that. The letters went out as soon as I had
But we
information
can be better
from
about
them.
communicating that to them if that's how long it took.
Pete
And-
was in that meeting.
Well, you've got some frustrated residents that.
And I wish I had more information, but I cannot give them something I do not have.
Okay. All right. If anybody has any further comments, okay, we stand adjourned.